The vibe of St. Croix does help define my food just because of the vibrant color, the color in the land in terms of just different seasonal fruits, vegetables, even in our madras, in the clothes that we wear. So as an artist, seeing that just different textures and colors, it really does influence how you feel as an artist in the VI. My name is Chef Lamar Bough, and today we'll be making ceviche and cerujo. So cerujo is just basically four ingredients. It's ingredients that you guys probably all heard about or seen. So we have cornmeal, we have some ghee, or you can use butter, salt, sugar, and I always add a little bit of nutmeg. So the first step is you get your pot of water boiling, and once it's to a simmer, then you add some sugar, a little salt, and the ghee. Once the ghee is melted, then you're gonna go ahead and grab the cornmeal. So the type of cornmeal that you use is a very fine cornmeal, something like polenta, if you're familiar with polenta, or fungi, right, which is a local dish. So it's pretty much the fungi or the polenta without the okra, and you let it cool off, and then you form it into a ball or whatever shape you want, and you fry it. So I'm gonna go ahead and grate some nutmeg into the water. That's just something I do. I like that nutmeg flavor. Just give you something that, you know, you can identify a little bit when you bite into it. Very subtle. So now the cornmeal. So it's important that when you pour in the cornmeal, you got to continuously whisk it. The reason is you will get clumps if you don't. So you have to continuously move it around to avoid clumping. The cerujo, I chose that dish just because it's something that we can all relate to. I mean, cornmeal is something, or just the milling of corn, we've been doing for centuries, and all over the Caribbean and all over the world, people, you know, they can identify cornmeal. So with a few simple ingredients, again, you can create a very flavorful dish, inexpensive as well. The cornmeal is going to absorb all the liquid and it's going to thicken. How you know when it's done is once it's, you know, pretty much the texture is going to be, it should start sticking to the whisk. So now you can see that it's done because, like I said, once it starts to pretty much hold its form in the whisk, then it's finished. So what I'm gonna do now is get it all into a separate pan so that it could cool off, so I can form them into balls. While that's happening, I'm gonna bring over the second part of the dish, which is the fish for the ceviche. All right, so for the ceviche, we have two fish here. We have yellowtail snapper, and this one is a grouper, or some people call it strawberry grouper, or locals call it hein. So pretty much we're just gonna fillet the fish. The reason behind making the ceviche is because it's just a quick, fresh dish. You know, it's something that you can, like I said, you can grab a handful of ingredients and create something that is magical, pretty much, flavorful, and just very fresh and healthy for you at the end of the day. This one I'm going to fillet it off the skin. So what I'm doing is removing the skin. So you grab a piece of the tail, you slide your knife under, and press the knife towards the board, and at the same time you're just kind of slowly pulling. This fillet was pretty close, but if you notice, there's still some meat along the bone. So what you do, you take a spoon and you just scrape it to get all the pieces of meat off of this fish. The head you can use for stock. The flavor of ceviche, what you want it to have is a nice crispness to the protein, because again, you're not adding any heat to the protein. What you're doing is curing it. So to build this ceviche, we have cilantro, we have some salt, ginger, we have seasoned pepper. That's what we call it. Us locals, we call it seasoned pepper. It's not spicy. It looks just like the Scotch bonnet, which we will be using. One way I tell is I actually taste the seed, and if it's spicy, of course, then we know we're dealing with a Scotch bonnet. You don't want to put too much of this in the dish. And onion, we have coconut milk and olive oil. All right, so now that the cornmeal is cooled off, this is the second part of the ceviche process, which is, like I mentioned earlier, this is you're gonna roll it out, shape it, and then we're gonna fry it. You can do it in whatever shape you want. I'm making like a sphere and then kind of pressing it a little bit. It's almost like a ceviche cake. The culinary scene on St. Croix is special because of diversity in terms of just having different ethnic backgrounds on the island. Is the fact that our cuisine really doesn't have any boundaries as to what we can do because of the influences. The outside becomes firm, while the inside should be a creamy texture. So that caramelization comes from the sugars from the cornmeal. So now we're gonna go ahead and plate the ceviche and ceviche. So now that the fish has been cured, you can see that the color is more opaque. It's not as translucent as it was before, and that's because the acid has cured the fish. So there's a crust to it, and like I said, the inside is creamy and the outside should be nice and has a nice crunch to it. I'm Chef Lamar, and this is the spirit of the ceviche and ceviche.